All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Ebonie, a.k.a. Fit Mom Diva of Simplicity Health Style, and today we have Caroline with us. How are you, Caroline?
Hi, y'all. I'm good. How are you, Ebonie?
I'm awesome on this rainy, cloudy day in Tampa, Florida.
Oh, I know. It looks rough.
I'm bringing the sunshine to the world right now.
Go, girl.
Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate you. For those of you that are listening, if you stick around to the end, you will have an opportunity to get a complimentary gift. And Caroline has some awesome nuggets that she wants to share with us today. Caroline, start us off by telling us just one motivational quote that really inspires you, something that encourages you and keeps you going.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if you have ever heard of Bob Goff, but he is the dude. He is so awesome. He's a writer. And so I have a quote. It's on my phone because it's kind of long.
Okay.
But he says, every day God invites us on the same kind of adventure. It's not a trip where he sends us a rigid itinerary. He simply invites us. God asks what it is that he's made us to love, what it is that captures our attention, and what feeds that deep, indescribable need of our souls to experience the richness of the world that he made. And then leaning over to us, he whispers, let's go do that together. So,
wow.
Yeah, that just kind of, before, I think that every day I wake up and it's either, when I do something, it's either it was perfect or it was a failure. And there's no in between. You know, there was just black and white. And it's really easy to get in that mindset of all or nothing. And I think that quote kind of put me back into like this passion and purpose of each day, that failure is okay, and success is awesome. Either way, you're doing what you were born to do, and you're pursuing and you're making a step forward, whether that be a learning experience or something, a big step in the right direction. Either way, you're going forward, and that's the point.
Yes, and we all fall into that trap of sometimes feeling like we're not doing enough. We should be a little bit further ahead, and that sometimes is based off of what other people think, and sometimes based off of our own goals, but just understanding that we can also celebrate where we've come from and really look back at, wow, I actually did all of this. Sometimes resting in that state is something that boosts your mood instantaneously.
For sure. Absolutely.
We all know that it's not always easy. So can you tell us about a time when perhaps you didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel and you had to overcome some obstacles, and eventually you were able to bring that goal or that dream to fruition?
Yeah. Okay, girl, buckle in because this is quite the story. So I am a nurse. I went to nursing school. I've wanted to be a nurse for as long as I could remember. And I graduated in 2014 and started working at a hospital on the floor. And I was, working long hours, 12-hour shifts. I had a lot of patients, a lot of stressful things were happening. You're keeping people alive. That's a lot to stress about. Yeah. And I started noticing that I was having an abnormal amount of stress. I was staying late for my shifts up to like an hour and a half after my shifts, just worried that I had missed something. And I started double checking everything. And then I started noticing that weird things were happening that I was doing. Like I didn't want to shake hands with people, or I was scared to lift up, like adjust somebody's covers, or I didn't want to walk into the patient room. And at the time I didn't know what that was. So I just kind of kept on keeping on. And then I just remember one day in May of 2015, where I started having a panic attack, and I'm no stranger to panic attacks. I've had them since I was young. But this one was at work at the hospital, and it was really intense. And I couldn't stop. And so I actually had to be on medication, and it was a really scary time for me. I just remember it being a really dark time. So it turns out that I had OCD. I was diagnosed with OCD in 2015. And for those of you who think that OCD is counting and putting things in order, that's a type of OCD, but it's not what I have. So my OCD is fear of germs, contamination, which is so funny that I am a nurse. So that just kind of like a fireman being afraid of fire.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so I got diagnosed, and I had to move in with my parents. I couldn't work. There's actually resource centers for treatment for OCD, which I was in for 6 months. And during that time, I just remember just feeling really hopeless. Like I couldn't do what I thought I was born to do. I wasn't independent. I wasn't living on my own anymore. I was still having these constant panic attacks. Essentially, my own mind was breaking me down. So I think that's where my writing actually started. That's where the idea of my blog actually came from, was just an emotional outlet in that time. So at that point, when I finally hit the very rock bottom where I was in treatment, I wasn't working, I really just didn't have any purpose. I kind of just looked at my life and realized that I can't control the hand that I was dealt. Nobody can, and everybody has their stuff, and that just happens, and you have to learn to roll with it. And so I decided that day that going forward, I was going to have to live with this, because there is no fixing it. This is the life that I have. And I can turn that into something beautiful, because there are so many, along the way, I've met doctors with OCD and, nurses and lawyers, and it's real. And if I can embrace that and kind of just bring it to light, then we as people can move mountains, make huge strides in mental health and then in our purpose in life. And so I think I realized through that my purpose may be to take this horrible thing, this OCD, and make it something beautiful that people can learn from, and that people can see that I'm going to keep pushing, even though it's hard. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I've been about a year controlled with medications with OCD. I still struggle, and I'm still working as a nurse. But I think that was the darkest time in my life and the biggest lesson that I could have learned. So coming out of that, I feel like I have a lot of material to talk about there.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I love the way that you said, this is the hand that I've been dealt, and I'm going to turn it into something beautiful that's also going to be able to impact and inspire other people. Because a lot of times what people will do is they'll take that situation and say, oh God, why me? Why did you choose me to deal with this? And it's not about why you. What can you do to create something beautiful out of it? And I think that when you change your mindset to that, it makes the situation seem like it's easier to get through. Because the fact of the matter is, like you said, some situations are not fixable. It's kind of just there. If you all of a sudden have a death in the family, or you all of a sudden get into a car accident, or anything negative happens to you, the fact of the matter is that it happened. So what are you going to do about it now? You're going to sit there and cry in bed all day long, or are you going to go on with your life? Because life goes on.
Nothing changes if nothing changes.
Yeah. I love that. That's such a beautiful story. Have you been able to find that your social media presence has drawn more people to you because of the fact that you're able to be vulnerable and transparent about your experiences that you've gone through?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that is probably the defining reason that I have a social media presence, and that was my whole goal. I think that we as people we can control what our life looks like on social media, and therefore we want it to look perfect, flawless, not the problems. You don't put the dirty stuff out there. And I think that I kind of realized, seeing how many people struggle with mental illness like me, I saw that nobody's life is perfect, and we are all just fooling ourselves and taking steps backwards in our purpose when we do that. So I kind of just, I feel like my social media is leverage that I have to speak into people's hearts and say, look, I'm a mess, but also I'm doing a lot of good, and I'm making a difference, and it's okay. You are a mess, so why not air it out? So I feel like that's a big help in drawing people to my page, because they see that I'm going to be real and I'm going to tell it how it is. When I'm struggling, you're going to know about it.
Yeah. And you know what? I realized too that a lot of times people that perceive their struggle as something very significant, other people are still looking at it as though it's not as bad as what they're going through.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Although you're fearful about putting it out there, at the end of the day, people are like, yeah, but at least you have that. Let me tell you about my problems. but you were fearful about putting it out there. It's always, everyone thinks that what they're going through is like this big, gigantic mountain, and they're the only ones going through it, and nobody has it as bad as they do. And here you were scared about putting out the fact that you have OCD, and other people are looking at it like, oh, is that all you have? Well, let me get to my problem.
Let me lay it on you. Exactly. Everybody has their stuff. Everybody.
Yeah. And it means something different to everybody too. You know, you can't tell people how to feel about their situations necessarily, but when you can bring some form of light into it, it just makes it so much easier to navigate. And then understanding that there's somebody else in this world that is going through the same exact issues.
Yeah, and how you can use that to work together.
Yes, yes. What are your thoughts on people that don't necessarily have a very strong support system at home or in their local community that they're aware of? How can these people find people that can help support them and encourage them when they do feel like they're all alone, particularly when it comes to them putting their story out there and crafting their life purpose? What kind of suggestions could you give to these people?
So first of all, I think that your purpose is very personal at first. I think that it comes from your own thoughts, and it's in, so I think that what I finally had to do was write down my mission statement for my life, kind of a very personal time where I assessed where I want my life to go and where I see it looking like in the future. And then with OCD especially, I don't have a lot of support in the sense that people try to understand it, but it doesn't make any sense. If you don't have it, you don't have it.
Right.
So I did struggle with that a lot. So I kind of had to start from a very introverted perspective and kind of just deciding every day if what I had done that day lined up with my mission statement. And so I think that if you can find that support within yourself, that's a huge accomplishment. But also in the sense of social media, it can be, the internet, social media can be such a resource for understanding what you're going through and finding a support system and this group of people that can do life with you. There is a group for virtually everybody. And you can, so if you can connect even there, even if your actual tangible friends that are around you don't understand, there is somebody that does.
Right.
So I would definitely say use your resources. Look up those support groups. Do some writing. There's nothing to me that's more therapeutic than writing and reading. So I would say if you don't have that and you keep going to your parents and your friends and you're not finding that support, there are other people out there that can give you that. You just have to go looking for them.
Yes, and you can connect with people all over the world now. There's people that I have met in other countries that if it wasn't for social media, I would have never met these people. And
I mean, you're in Florida, Ebonie.
Yeah.
I would have met you.
Exactly. You and I met on social media, and it's just as simple as sending someone a really quick message. That's all it is. And if they respond, they respond. If they don't, well, guess what? There's other billions of people on this earth. So it's really just understanding that the connectedness that we have with social media allows you to be able to find people of like mind and of like situations that you don't have to go through this world alone. And if you don't like interacting online, well, you can utilize social media to find even local communities. I know in my community, there's meetup groups that meet on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on various topics that range from painting to self-development. I mean, all types of topics that you could explore. And most likely when you attend these meetup groups, people that are attending are people that have something in common with you, or you wouldn't have met them online in that specific topic area group, right? They wouldn't even have left their house to go to the meetup event if you didn't have that commonality. So I think that even utilizing social media for establishing community relationships is something that we can also strive toward, because sometimes people get wrapped up in the whole world of social media that they don't necessarily have many friends in their local community. And that's okay if you're okay with that. But what if the internet broke down one day and now you don't have your social media community? It's just nice to be able to say that you still have a community of local people that can help support you in your trouble.
And that's so important. I totally think so. Being
that
able
sense
to
of balance.
somebody.
Yeah. That sense of balance is important. What is your intention with your social media presence to date? Do you have any next steps in mind that maybe people might want to collaborate with you or give you some ideas that they think could help you thrive?
Yeah, I actually have written my own mission statement for my blog as well as, for my life. But for my blog in particular, all I'm trying to do is relieve people of the perfections of life, to show them that if you're open and you're honest and transparent, that we can I'm striving to do that every day and that we can achieve so much more. So really where I see my blog going is just as I'm raising my baby. I have a young baby and I'm a new wife, a new mom, and just navigating my life and screwing up inevitably and learning from it, I think is my intention, is just to show people my life in an honest way and where I can go from there. So I love collaborating with people. I love talking about anything that you feel like you want to talk about, or baby products or mom products. I'm all about that. I'm not so into like style because I'm kind of a bit of a mess. I just shirts all the time. Keeping it real is the goal for me, and that's really it. That wherever that takes me and whatever that looks like is where I want to be.
Yes, and I love that when I went to your page that you really keep it real. She's a human being. She's not this person that's trying to have this glamorous Instagram account and just show you the pretty memes. Like, you actually see her realness. All of her contact info will be in the description box. And Caroline, as time goes on and you want to share more about you, if you have any upcoming projects or you become a best-selling author or anything cool, please update us. And you guys, I will make sure that her contact information is always up to date. But when you have somebody like this in your life that can be real with you, these are the people that you want to hold close, because you don't always find that. And I know that on days that I'm at a low, I don't feel like doing anything, I'm not motivated to barely even turn on the computer. As soon as I do, because I surround myself with positive people, I'm not going to stay down in the dumps for too long, because I'm going to see them doing good things and encouraging. And I'm just like, okay, Ebony, you need to get up and do something with your day. I'm not going to stay there for very long. So these are the type of people that you guys want to make sure that you include into your circle. So I suggest that you definitely follow Caroline and other women like her. Do you have any last words of encouragement for anybody out there that we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, I think just to reiterate that everybody is going through something, no matter how big or small it is to you. To you, it is huge, and that's totally fair. So I think that getting up every morning and sometimes is the biggest step forward, and that's great. And you should celebrate the small victories, and at the same time, always strive for the big goals as well. Never stop using your resources, never stop talking to people, and know that there are people out there that feel the same way you do. Nobody is an island. Nobody is the only person in the world. So definitely always reach out and keep pushing, because that's what life's about.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate you reiterating that, because we do need to realize that sometimes our struggles that we're going through seem like they're so huge. But if you think back on all of the struggles that you've had over the course of your life, now looking back at it, some of those struggles actually are like, wow, that actually wasn't so bad. It felt bad in the moment, but I was able to get through that. And you're able to learn from the experience as well. So that's always significant. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you speaking with me today. I really do. And for those of you that are listening that have similar stories or similar challenges that you feel like you would love to get out there into the world to let people know that they're not alone, please contact me. All of my contact information is in the description box as well. And feel free to join my Nutrition for Busy Women Facebook group. It's the Nutrition, the number 4, Busy Women. And we don't just talk about food consumption and nutrition. We're talking about nutrition for the mind, body, and soul. So that's any and everything to do with how we feed our mind and how we operate in this world. And I would love it if you share this out with your community. Sometimes we listen to a good, positive message and we forget to share this with others that we love. Share this out to your community because I believe that connection is what brings us closer together and being able to understand that we all have our quote unquote stuff, as Caroline said.
Amen.
Thank you, Caroline. I appreciate your time.
Of
And
course.
wherever you guys are in the world, I hope you have an awesome rest of the day. And I invite you to continue to listen to the remaining of my episodes and connect with me. You guys have a good day, and I will talk to you soon.
Bye.